it was just, again, this curiosity space. And so I can talk all day long to somebody else, but when I need to sit down and record like a TikTok video, or what I'm launching into, this is going to be a very structured 3 to 5 minute, maybe 10-minute long, my top 3 things to help start your day better, my top 3 things to control your curiosity, things like that, right? As I'm doing this, I'm like stuck. And so I'm struggling with my own curiosity because I get stuck in like it's writer's block in a creative form. Because what I realized is that I need to script things. Mm-hmm. And so my instant reaction to wanting to script these videos is, man, it's going to take forever, right? That's my reaction, because I'm trying to make an excuse, because my negative thought pattern still exists. I'm still an addict at heart. I still am an excuse monster. I can argue with a fence post and win with all of my excuses because I'm very, very good at it.
Brian's offended.
I'm not offended. I just want to know where the normal's perspective. Hold on. Welcome back, everybody, to Talk Hard Podcast. We are still live, even though this is being recorded.
Do you want me to turn the timer on?
No.
Okay.
Will you? This is what I got to deal with now. This is what I got to deal with now.
This is what I got to deal with.
You said, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let me and Chris work this out first, and then we'll get into the topic, I promise. What I'm trying to figure out is, I sat down and Chris said, so I was checking out Joe Rogan's podcast, and it's 4 cameras, Joe Rogan and his guy with an HDMI switcher, right?
Yep.
And then
A10 Mini Pro
proceeded to say he's just a normal guy like me. And so I wanted to know where the normal came from, because either I'm not normal, and this is awesome because this is the difference in perspective during communication. So I took it as perhaps I'm not normal, but I know that's not true. So I was then thinking, maybe Chris took a step up and he put himself way above me because he's just a normal guy and I'm below
because he
him.
wanted to make it about him, where I was talking about Joe Rogan and the stuff that we could use. See, we have 3 cameras, they have 4.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
But I'm not trying to, I feel like that's like a little man syndrome call out right there. But
sorry to interrupt you, Master.
No, you're okay. So, oh man, I love my life. I love everything about this show and what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. So if you like it too, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, tell everybody about us. We're on a mission, and Chris, probably in the next couple of podcasts, I really want to kind of dive into. I know we're missing a player, but I want to dive into kind of how this came to fruition and how we got where we are today and where this is going. And I say it like that because I want people to understand that this is going to go somewhere. There is no other option. So that eliminated failure from my whole entire situation, because this is going to happen, period. We will turn this into something that will help change the world, because that's my purpose. I feel it. I know it's there, and this is what we're going to do. So if you like what we're talking about and you want to hear different things, please comment down below, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you're not. Help us share the message. But
if you're not, I won't be able to pay my rent.
Okay. And yeah, so help out
Help
Chris
me.
too. We're going to start an OnlyFans of Chris's bills. They're just going to be pictures of his different bills and apparently a butthole. And we're going to offer them so that you can see them and donate, and then maybe you could help out the podcast in another way. But anyways, what I was saying today was the growth and things that happen, and I get asked a question a lot about, like, how did I get here? Or somebody at work the other day was like, how did you become so good at talking? And it kind of threw me off, right? But before I get into that, so me and you chat earlier today, and you said in this message, do you have a specific idea today, or can we come up with something random? And I said, I got a few thoughts. We'll just kind of get into the topic at random, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm driving to take a shower and get changed, and I noticed that Talk Hard Podcast on TikTok. If you can't find us anywhere else, go look us up on TikTok. It's Talk Hard Podcast Official. And
Talk Hard Podcast, all one word, _official.
Boom. Give it to him just like that. So it says Talk Hard Podcast Official. This is, okay, so I want to focus on what I was thinking before I even looked at this. I'm driving here and I'm thinking to myself, I want to talk about curiosity, because I believe that curiosity, controlled curiosity, is the key to
not killing the cat.
That too. And it's the key to life, in my opinion. If you can control your curiosity, and what I mean by that is, like, a worry is curious. But before I get way off topic, I believe in manifestation. So I'm thinking about curiosity. I get into some traffic because I would never drive and be on my phone at the same time. And the title of this says, Get Curious About Me. And I was like, holy crap. Me and Chris are already on the same page because he posted this. I hadn't seen it. He mentioned it.
I made the title.
He mentioned it, but I hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, okay, here we go. Curiosity is definitely the topic. I thought about it. It manifested itself back to me. This is where we're at. So I love curiosity when it's controlled because worrying is a form of curiosity. Mm-hmm. You're worrying about something because you're curious about what might happen in the negative. When you can learn to control your curiosity and you can imagine what can, will, often does happen in the positive, then you can get to much greater things in life. I started getting curious about people because something struck a chord with me. So I got really, really curious about people in the same way that I feel you, Chris, got curious about computers and animation and all of this other world that when you speak sounds like French to me. But
Le puter.
that's where you go. So I know where my curiosity came from, and I want to help you all get to a space where you can control your curiosity, but you also have to look for pattern recognition because that's another thing that is a key factor, in my opinion, on success is watching for the patterns. Everybody has a pattern. Every person has a pattern. If you want your relationship to be successful, look for the patterns in yourself and your partner. If you want to be more successful in business, look for the patterns in business. You are very successful, in my opinion, at the computer world because you have shown me some fun things. And don't get me wrong, I know how to build a computer. I know how to play with computers. I'm very tech savvy, but he's on another level, and I love that. So where did that curiosity first strike for you, and how did you get there?
When I was 6 years old, I found a Nintendo in the dumpster with my dumpster diving buddy. Yes. I won't name names.
Okay.
But the controller port was torn off the end of the controller, the wiring. Mm-hmm. So I figured I could look at the color of each wire inside the casing and the color of each wire going into the plug-in, the port on the Nintendo itself. Wired it up, it worked, and ever since then I've been taking things apart. I got in trouble for a lot of it, but I think it was, for a reason. First time I actually worked on a computer was by accident, an accident that I had caused on my dad's computer when I was about 12. Okay. I opened it up and sat the hard drive down on the metal chassis of the computer case, and it fried it. Luckily, I found another one, this metal box that looked like the other metal box, hooked it up, and I found these little floppy disks that said Windows 98 on them, put them in, went through this kind of self-explanatory setup.
So glad we have an older audience.
Yeah, and lo and behold, the computer was running again. I saw the desktop, and I can't remember if it was Netscape or Internet Explorer, but I took the AOL disk because I had the 30-day free trial for about 10 years. Every time I called cancel. Anyway, everybody knows about that. But I pretty much tried to put everything, made it look like it used to on the desktop and all that stuff. And he never knew that I fried his hard drive.
Even under the circumstances, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it took a huge weight off my shoulders because after I broke it, I was crying, and didn't know what was going to happen when he found out. But I was proud of myself. I was like, man, I just did something first try. Never messed with a computer before, except to play games on or whatever. And ever since then, I've just been interested in it. And, I wonder what else I can do with it because, curiosity on the positive side. And, later years, we had Google and things of that nature come about where you can literally find an answer to anything. And I just kept digging and digging. I learned how to program, develop games, and so on and so forth. And I'm still going with it. I'm just always naturally been attracted to technology.
Okay. There's this fun thing for me as I'm watching this. Like I can hear it in your voice. I can see it on your face. I can relate. I don't know what it's like for you, but I do know what that type of situation was like for me. And if they're anywhere even in the same ballpark, there is this feeling that comes when you don't allow the fear factor to take place in your curiosity. Oftentimes, from necessity, we eliminate fear. I don't have a choice. I have to get this done. I can't be afraid of the outcome because I'm already in a bad outcome. So you have to make a change and get curious. When you can take that same kind of drive and use it in your daily life, What I mean by that is I get curious with my wife. In a good situation, in a bad situation, doesn't matter. If I feel like we're fighting, I stop and I get curious. What's causing this? Why is this happening? I'm not going to think about all the things I could have done wrong. I'm going to think about what kind of a conversation I need to have to understand. I'm not just going to play out shoulda, woulda, coulda, maybe, possibly kind of situation because that doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I'm going to play out what do I need to have a conversation about in order to strike curiosity in her mind to release some information to me so I can see what's happening, right? And when you stay in the space where curiosity is king and it's controlled and you don't allow the negative emotion to get involved, greatness comes. This is how inventions were made. Somebody got really curious about a better way or the first way or another way to do something. And that's what you've done. And I've seen the same thing happening during the podcast. So for the past, I don't know, we're going on 2 years at some point.
December.
There it is. And when I first met you, a lot more shy, a lot more timid, a lot more quiet. And as you started to open up,
You guys aren't as mean as you used to be.
fair, totally fair. I call it tough love, but you can call it mean. And so you would send it. So we would record a podcast and we'd talk about things. And then later on, Chris would tag me in a Facebook post or he would text me something in Messenger or say something. And I knew that we had triggered curiosity for you and that you took it home with you. And I love that about life because I have seen your life improve from wherever you were to a better apartment. Things seem to be good with your girl. You're handling life on life's terms better. And I don't believe that's because anything outside of your life actually changed. I believe it's because you changed. And when you changed because of your curiosity, everything outside of you automatically changed. But am I just crazy?
No, I mean, I've taken on more of a mindset of, eliminating as much fear as I possibly can. And just wondering what will happen if I comparatively face everything head on rather than being afraid of it and trying to avoid a certain pathway that I could have taken, instead of taking the sheltered way, just taking incentive to keep moving no matter what, pretty much. Like I mentally prepare myself for any possible situation, the what ifs. The thing that a lot of people are scared of, what I'm usually afraid of, what if this and that happens? Well, if it does, I'm going to adapt and overcome, basically come up with some way of dealing with it mentally and moving forward physically, financially, whatever it may take.
So you attach this mental mindset, which is what we're all about here. We're all about the mindset here. The mindset will completely change your life. But as we have watched you grow and change, I love your explanation of it because fear is always the factor, right? But for those of you that want to know why you're so, what I would call fearful, that's how the brain's wired. It's trying to predict what might come so it can protect you. This is an automatic response to your brain. We use more than 10% of our brain. The subconscious is autopilot, so they measure it as 10%, but your brain is constantly moving, and the more curious that you are and the more curious that you take things home and the more that you dive into things without the fear being a factor, the farther things will move for you because most people have an aha moment. You have this moment. It could be happening right now. When I said that, you're like, oh yeah, like I know what that feels like. It's aha. And I've had it at like seminars where I've had them myself. And so I'm in the seminar with somebody who's selling me an MLM and I'm all fired up and I'm going to go be the next millionaire because I saw the Lamborghini outside and that's going to be mine and yada, yada, yada. And by the time I get home, I'm over it. But I didn't attach anything to it. I didn't control my curiosity. I allowed it to exist, which is what all of us do. We get curious about something for a very short time and we don't stay in the moment. But in the same way that you stayed in computers is the same way that you have stayed with this podcast is you eliminated the fear. You said things are going to change. Things are going to be different. This is the path I need to take. So you take this fun curiosity and you build this roadmap and you make a decision that this is the roadmap and this is the direction and this is where I'm going to land. Even though there's 50 other options that are all negative, that are all true, that are all possible. Mm-hmm. When you write yourself a roadmap and you go down this road, sure, you get kicked off course a little bit. You might slide off. You didn't have your blinker fluid filled up. You made a wrong turn. Everything is going the way it's going.
And plenty of that blinker fluid.
And so You get off course, but when you stay in the same curiosity and you say, no, hold on, I'm off course. And you recognize, again, pattern recognition. I'm off course. I'm going back to the old thought pattern, the negative way of thinking. Your negative way of thinking comes from what you believe. And so changing what you've believed since you started this podcast with us, I believe has changed your life. I know it's changed mine. I've seen it changed yours. I want to know if it's changing yours. I want to know if you're getting anything out of this or the topics you want us to touch on because I'm curious. See what I did there? Mm-hmm. You like that? I'm getting better at this.
I'm curious.
Hang on.
I forgot what you said.
We were talking about curiosity. And so as we dive more into, obviously, curiosity, I'm curious about where the hell I just went. Because sometimes, like as I was just saying, you get knocked off course. Chris said something completely...
I said I was curious.
Boggled, but he said it like a schmeagle. I want people to want more. Because wanting and needing are two different things. And I want you to want. I want you to have things. Do I actually care if you want? No, I'm not going to lie to you. You don't impact me. So I don't care whether or not you actually want something. I want it for you, but that doesn't matter. So my hope is that these conversations trigger a different thought process in people where they understand that every thought you have is a lie until you make it a fact. So when you come up with something in your head, we don't know if that's true. We do this a lot. Like you anticipate the next move. I don't want to go talk to my boss because he's just going to get mad at me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go home right now because my wife's going to rip my head off. We anticipate these things most of the time because we thought we did something wrong. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have many of those fears anymore because I'm perfect and I don't do anything wrong, which is a complete lie. But I don't worry about it because I know that my actual driving factor is from a positive place. So I don't consider the ramifications because I know where I'm going and I know where I need to be and I know where I want to be and I know the direction I need to take. So I know how to get there. But where is your curiosity moving you today?
Well, I'm really still in my infancy as far as actually changing my mindset goes.
We are not using child labor. He's metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, I'm not an infant. My dry sense of humor just got me off track.
Yep. Shots fired.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm just I'm still in the beginning, I guess. What I do right now is when I start to get back into the negative mindset that I used to have on a regular basis, mm-hmm. I start feeling the same way I used to feel, and then I remember how I felt and how badly I didn't want to feel that way. So instead of setting in that now and just saying, this is how I feel, this is how I'm going to feel, I say, no, I'm not going to, I'm not going to allow myself to feel like shit, like I'm down in a hole or whatever, because for one, I've been in much worse situations and felt okay, and every time I've been in a bad, mental state, I've gotten out of it at some point or another, and everything wound up being okay. So far, 100% of those instances have been resolved. So I tell myself that this isn't going to last. It's another cliche quote on Facebook that's shared a lot is, you are more than this feeling. I say, this is just a feeling. Sleep is hope for a new day. I usually feel a lot different when I get some sleep. I wake up the next day, I make it a new day, and I say, God, let this be a good day. Let me show them what I'm made of. And so far it's been pretty boring, but I think one day I'm going to have an aha moment of some sort.
I think you've already had it. You just don't realize that you've had it. But you said something about the Facebook post and feelings, and say it again.
That you are more than this feeling?
Perfect.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so one thing I want to touch on here is that there's a thought pattern, and this is how things work, and how your feeling is based on what you believe. Okay, and that's where that meme comes from. So the thought pattern goes, your beliefs dictate your thoughts dictate your feelings dictate your actions create your results, and this creates a psycho-cybernetic loop. So if I go into a situation already believing that, the only possible outcome is negative. And then negative happens through my whole thought process, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm reinstilled with this negativity, and so now I have sold myself on the reality that that is truth. And that's just not the case. We've created that to be the case. And what I don't understand about people is that you will have this thought and you will create this worry because of this belief you have in your head. And then through the rest of the process, the action that created your result, you were completely wrong. That it wasn't as negative as your belief started. And that doesn't trigger curiosity in your mind to say, what can I change? How can I change it? Why did I think that way? And what could be a different response when this thought process happens again? They don't get curious about anything, even when you're wrong. You do this, and then you just move on with your day.
Interrupt the pattern.
You have to interrupt the pattern. Now, in cognitive behavioral coaching, this is what we call pattern interruption. They do it in therapy. NLP training uses this. This is just basically you take that negative thought pattern and you just kind of knock it loose with something. Tony Robbins tells a story about one client that he was meeting with, and he noticed that she was getting into a negative loop, and he grabbed a glass of water and splashed it on her. Now, this lady's paying him thousands of dollars, probably a lot of thousands of dollars, to be a coach.
It sounds like an asshole.
Now you're calling me an asshole, I feel like.
You don't have water?
I thought you were talking about the pricing.
Tony Robbins. I'm sorry, Tony.
No, it's the funny thing is when he told the story and she just kind of looked at him like, what the heck? She knows enough about him. Now, if a stranger splashes you with water in the face, your reaction is going to be different. But when someone you trust, someone that guides you, takes a glass of water and splashes you, you're kind of like, wait a minute, what? It stops this wait a minute, what moment, right? And then curiosity runs wild. Why did he do that? What's going on right now? I'm so confused and I want to understand this. All of this curiosity runs wild and it completely interrupts your thought pattern. Now, in that moment, she was able to just completely get out of the negative moment and get back in the moment with Tony Robbins. And he explained why he did it. But I watched him do it with the guy that was talking about suicide at his convention too. The guy comes up and he starts talking to him and he's asking him, why do you hate yourself? And the kid's just looking at him and he says, is it your shoes? And he went, what? Well, they're fucking red. So
bullying people.
He wasn't bullying anybody. He was not, because again, he's coming from a pure place in his heart. So all that does is knock the kid loose from what he was already locked in. And he looks up and just locks eyes with them. And he's just like, holy crap. And now we're connected. Now we have gotten out of the way, because when I get in a negative thought pattern, I don't hear anything else. I moved to another company going on 2 years. I was recruited by somebody that asked me to come over and help their company. And me and the president of the company got into it because he said something. And when he said something to me that he was upset, he was having a bad day, he said something. And everything past that word, I didn't hear. Completely. We had a 2 or 3, I don't remember what I said. It knocked me in a negative way. But I just got stuck there. And so I stopped myself and I said, okay, what just happened? Why did this happen? I know this isn't about me. And it got me into this conversation the next day where I said to him, hey, I'm not this. And he was like, I know. Well, you said this. And we had this conversation. So I didn't just let that be what it is. I didn't let that negative thought pattern run to me. I knew that the president of this company, who knows that I've been recruited there and knows what I'm there to do and wants me to be a part of the team, says something to me, I'm able to focus on that rather than all the negative outcomes. So I just go back around the loop, get back in the right place, and have a conversation through curiosity. We are curious people and we're storytellers. And if you want to get really good at life, in my opinion, you need to become better at both. And I am still working on my storytelling abilities because I talk fast. I have a low tone in my voice. So if I wasn't using this thing right here, you probably would have no idea what I'm saying. So I am still being very curious about my life. And what I'm going to be curious about right now, Chris Cornell-Cobb, is what have you done about your app?
About my app?
App.
What app?
You know what this means? This means that I want something more than he does, and that's okay.
You want an app? What app are we talking about?
The last podcast. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you can go back and watch the last podcast.
Oh, he's talking about,
and we will talk about
the virtual
Chris's
reality,
life-changing, and the help that I assisted with through curiosity.
Let me tell you, I've been working on level design every day since we've had that episode.
What is level design?
Level design is environmental design in the 3D realm, the 3D world.
Okay. Virtual
worlds. Not jumping into turning my world into an actual head-mounted display virtual reality environment yet. because I'm honing my skills on actual design. Designing like a forest with a campsite and a river and scary looking bathroom, as well as a house interior.
Okay.
These are the things that I've never been as good at as I wanted to be. I've been more programming and making things function in games.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been working very hard on actual photorealism and things like that.
You're saying a lot of things, and man, do I feel this.
I'll share you my 3D designs this week.
I feel this in my own heart because I'm even currently struggling with this. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do struggle. I can do this all day long. I can talk to people all day long. Somebody at work a couple weeks ago, a month ago, said, "How did you get so good at talking to people?" was what he was referring to. And it was curiosity, right? Like, I was so nervous about women that I got curious about how they operate. I watched a lot of rom-coms. You know what I mean? Like, I spent my teens learning about.
Did you watch What Women Want?
Yes, all of them. Like,
White
I've
chicks?
seen. That's not a rom-com.
Okay, I'm done.
That's another topic, but it was just, again, this curiosity space. And so I can talk all day long to somebody else, but when I need to sit down and record like a TikTok video, or what I'm launching into, this is going to be a very structured 3 to 5 minute, maybe 10-minute long. My top 3 things to help start your day better. My top 3 things to control your curiosity, things like that. Right. As I'm doing this, I'm like stuck. And so I'm struggling with my own curiosity because I get stuck in like it's writer's block in a creative form. Because what I realized is that I need to script things. Mm-hmm. And so my instant reaction to wanting to script these videos is, man, it's going to take forever. Right. That's my reaction, because I'm trying to make an excuse, because my negative thought pattern still exists. I'm still an addict at heart. I still am an excuse monster. I can argue with a fence post and win with all of my excuses because I'm very, very good at it. So I'm doing this to myself, and all of a sudden I got curious about that. Why? I start jumping into my head, and then it all starts to make sense. So at first, this is going to be very tough. I'm going to have to script a lot of things to keep on point, because I have a brain that does 90,000 miles an hour, and it is very hard to control sometimes. So I realized that I know what's going to happen. So I'm letting everybody know now. So as this happens and comes to fruition, you can watch it happen. But I'm going to script it first, and that's going to give me practice. I'm going to get really good at staying on topic. And I am more than willing to bet that in under a year of doing these videos, I will no longer need scripts. So everybody wants to jump on stage and be a good speaker, but nobody wants to actually plan to be on the stage or practice to be on the stage or do anything about it. And then they get on stage and nothing makes any sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I'm struggling like crazy just to come up with ideas for my own content from home. I have, all the gear and things, and I can sit there and look stupid. And that's my prediction.
So that's your prediction, but what is another option?
Another option is to turn on the camera and just start talking and cut out the parts that I don't like, the silence and the parts I didn't think I did very well in. Mm-hmm. But I know I can sit there, telling myself I know I can sit there and just talk about something interesting and find good parts in it. But I don't get to that point as of yet, because I'm not allowing myself to. It's kind of a lazy mindset, in my opinion, for me, because once I have that negative thought pattern pop up, man, like you said, this is going to take forever. I'm going to have to plan it out. Can't do it if I haven't planned it out. I don't want to sit here and plan it out. Got other stuff to do. I got to worry and sit here and worry about all this other stuff I have to do, instead of just turning on the camera and talking, kind of like we're doing right now. I have no idea, when you came here, what we were going to talk about. Mm-hmm. And I think we're doing okay. And I think I could do okay if I were to just jump on the wagon and start recording.
So my mind starts to race, and sometimes it gets so hard to control it, because I'm listening to you and actively listening, and then I'll notice a thought come up and I got to shut it down.
I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next.
Which is another discussion for why people fight a lot. But there was this, basically I realized that through my manifestation of thinking about how to create these videos and doing all these things. So I wake up every morning, and I usually get to work between 6 and 7, but I wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm up by 4 no matter what. I need time to meditate. I need time to prep my day. I need time to pray. I need time to shower. I need time to get myself in the modality and space that I need to be in to move forward with my day. And sometimes I'll throw on a YouTube and I'll watch something. And I believe it was Ed Milet this morning. Ed, you're amazing. We need to talk sometime. He said the main reason why people struggle is they started making the content for themselves. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to share my value with you and I care about you, but I'm so concerned about myself, what I'm going to look like, how I'm going to sound. I'm so concerned about me that I'm not sharing my knowledge with you. And that is the opposite of selfish in my eyes, the way that I see selfish. Is I need to fill myself up so that I no longer matter in the situation, so I can just share it with you. So I am in this space where I'm just going to start creating and I'm going to enjoy playing with, we talked about video editing software. This is just, I just curious. Listen, I know how to tear apart a car. I know how to build a house. I know how to build a computer. I know how to do a lot of random things because of my curiosity, and I've loved that about myself. But now it's time to fill myself up and let my curiosity run wild and not let it be about me anymore, because I am setting an expectation on someone else that is completely unfair. I want it to be a certain way so that you get the best out of it, but I don't know what's the best for you. So I just need to share and make it entertaining. That's the only thing I need to focus on, is making sure that I am entertaining you so that you stay in that moment with me as we share things through life. And my goal is to give back to the world. I want to give back to you. I have come from a space where I used to hate waking up. I used to hate my life. I was addicted to drugs. I was codependent. I was angry. I was all of these things. And I believed in my head that that's just the way my life was supposed to be. And I'm going to give you a heads up. Next week, I want to talk about all the insane thoughts that happen when you're addicted to drugs, because boy, are they interesting. But right now, I'm just going to fill myself up and start sharing and allow that uncomfortable space create this other curiosity in me to edit these fun videos. And then when I think I like it, I'm going to share it with people and see what they think and listen to the feedback, because then I can understand that sometimes, most of the time, it's not about me. What I think is entertaining, you might not think is entertaining. Now, that ultimately still doesn't
So I haven't showed you my video game design.
Chris, I'm going to say this publicly before we start to wind down this podcast. It has been an honor for me to have met you, to have seen where you've gone in a year and a half. And I want all of you out there to understand this same thing. Just like me, I moved to Indiana, making $9 an hour. Outside of that first year, I was closer to $40,000 a year. Outside of that second year, it was more. Now, it's too rude to say. So I'm just going to say it's definitely not there, $9 an hour anymore.
I can't wait to get rude.
I am in a better space, and it's not about the money. It was about me. I set a goal. I got curious. I got curious in this space, just like I'm watching you get curious. And in 6 years, I've gone from $9 an hour to well above that, to happy every morning, to building things. I'm getting ready to launch another side business that, again, they did these. I'm not trying to build these great things. If I can build a small side hustle that is consistent, that I can put 5 hours into and make it $2,000 off of, cool. Again, not trying to build a big brand. I'm not going to put all my focus in one thing. My focus is on this, but I'd like to supplement and have fun and learn and grow and change. And so I just want to share with you that I'm watching you walk a very similar path.
Awesome.
So stick with it, because if you want to see what the future looks like, minus a lot of tattoos,
I might get more if I had more money.
I'm right here.
You got to make that game.
I know how to tattoo as well.
I'll show you my designs.
FYI.
Okay.
I got curious. These?
Give me free tattoos.
This is all me. This is all me.
He got a Converse sticker on his ankle.
I have a Converse shoe tattoo
Tattoo.
on my feet because I love my Chucks.
Cornbread eating.
But I can't really wear them because my feet suck because I didn't take care of myself. So now I just always have them on my feet, so I don't got to worry about what I'm wearing because I'm dedicated to the brand. I just want you to know that you matter. You're important. You are a key player in my life. You motivate me, and watching you grow has been a privilege.
Thank you. It has been I'll cut that out.
I got him.
It's been an honor to meet you as well, sir.
Okay. What did I say about call me, sir?
Oh, yeah, brother.
Listen, guys, if you like what you're hearing, share it with your friends. Tell us about it. Give me feedback. Like I don't care if it's negative. I'm not worried about it. I wanna hear all of the options out there so I can get curious about everything and really focus on what it takes to reach more people. And Chris, I do want to see your 3D. I want to hear more about this journey. I want to be a part of this journey, just like we're in this journey together. Life gets in the way, and that's not an excuse. That's just reality. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I'm busy, because I am. But
I'll just send you screenshots.
we have talked more since we shifted directions because we both had to get curious about things. There was a change in the podcast, and things are evolving. This is only number 3 for me and Chris. This is a new dynamic for me. But if I would have gone into this negatively or thinking, anything about you that wasn't just let Chris be Chris, and I watched that happen our first podcast. I watched you just kind of off your game for a minute as soon as you settled into comfort, and we're growing. We're growing together as people, together as individuals, and individually as yourself through this fun thing called life. And we're going to go down this fun road of getting curious about AI and technology and life and relationships and sometimes politics. Listen, I'm not a very political person. I love the world. I love this country. I love other countries. I'm not against anything, really. I'm curious about what is happening, and I want to make people aware of my perspective of it, so that if it strikes a chord, maybe you can do something. But I'm not trying to bash politicians. I'm trying to wake you up to what's actually happening so that fear doesn't become a factor for you, because I believe that we live in a space where fear is the motivator. And so we know it works. Psychologically, it works. And there's a lot of psychological games that are played out there, and we will definitely dive into those on another time. So if you want to hear more about that, let me know, and I will break down the psychology of commercials and politics and business and all of these things that are happening right in front of you. You just don't notice it because I think differently than you do, and I want to share that with you. So we're definitely going to dive into more. You guys, please follow us on TikTok, share it with your friends, like, subscribe. Chris, I want you to end this one.
Damn it. With what?
I don't
You
care.
have to tell me.
I don't care. I don't have to tell you anything.
Speaking of fear factor, I think I'd be more comfortable if our studio was set up more like Joe Rogan Experience, and that's all I got.
Okay. Next time, Joe, if you're out there, I'm going to go ahead and manifest a message to you that we need to talk to. I want to talk to all of you. I want to talk to Joe, Ed Milet. I want to talk to Tony Robbins. I want to talk to all these people because I just love having these curious conversations.
I got a remote with a laser pointer, Joe.
Joe, we've got a backup plan should anything ever happen at your studio. I would be more than happy. You can go ahead and borrow him. I'll fly out there and we'll do ours in your studio as part of the price for borrowing.
Let me be your floater.
Not a floater.
I'll scrub toilets.
And he's
I'll
not
scrub
a second choice. He's just another option. So, anyways, Joe, I know you're listening. I know you need to reach out to us. I will talk to you soon.
Boom.